topic this morning that we want to talk about is, for lack of a better term, where do we go from here? We have been kind of stuck inside or having Zoom meetings and so forth. And I've had numerous conversations over the last, couple of months as to, is there a Kiwanis International requirement to start these meetings in person, or to create fundraisers, to have more than one fundraiser or project because of the fact we lost some last year. What does Kiwanis International want us to do as an organization? And the quick answer is all of our clubs are autonomous. And we can give guidelines, but the guidelines are just that. Each club can do exactly what they would like to do. But what I'd first like to do, if I could, is, and I wish I could share my screens with you. As I said, I'm a little technologically challenged here. I don't know, is there a share screen, Katie, that I can?
Yeah, that's down at the bottom. It says share screen.
Okay, why can't I get down to the bottom?
Did you see where the chat is? Oh, you're probably on full screen. You got to go back to.
I'm with you. How's this? Come on, share screen. Well.
Just give it a try.
There we go. Let's
All right. Yay!
All right.
Way to go.
Can we see everything?
I can.
Okay. All right. Can everybody see the our PowerPoint here?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Well, that's me. I'll give you a little bit of background on me. I spent 30 years in the insurance business prior to coming to Kiwanis. And excuse me, I have been in this position for a little over 2 years. It's a brand new position to Kiwanis. And my responsibility is to, first of all, take a look at what our clubs are doing out there, take a look at what claims we've had in the past, and do what we can to minimize risk. This is our, and I'm going to go over this very quickly. If anybody wants to meet or talk after this about our insurance program, and for those of you who know about it, please bear with me for a little bit. Our general liability program also includes directors and officers liability. It also is provides risk mitigation techniques to provide to all of our clubs. And the intent is to protect all of the clubs in the US and Canada for a majority of potential legal issues that you may have with respect to guests and programs and things of that nature. All of our named insureds, which is covered under our program, are our clubs, districts, division, foundations, everything here, everything that or any entity that's involved with Kiwanis or a Kiwanis project is covered. Our program, our primary limits are 2 million. We also have 34 million over that. So we have $36 million worth of coverage available to our clubs for anything that could happen. Self-insured retention is similar to a deductible. It's $75,000. It is paid by, if there is a claim, it's paid by Kiwanis International. It is not charged clubs or district. And I will say this is kind of unusual in many organizational sponsored programs such as this. Typically it is, if there is an issue, the deductible is shared with the clubs. With ours, International pays the whole thing. It's funded by the clubs, $13 per member, and that comes out of the dues that each individual pays for. I can tell you, being in the market, if each club had to purchase insurance such as this, you wouldn't have the limits that you have, and it would be significantly more expensive. Our claims history, talk a little bit about that. Whoops. All right, this is very briefly some of the claims by categories that we've had in the past. And this is what I focus on when we talk about what do we protect against and what can we do.
Now, when I hit mute, they can't hear me.
Now you need to hit mute. Keep muting.
Are you okay, Katie?
Yeah, we just give people that keep coming off of mute.
Well, if anybody wants me to mute, let me know.
No, you're fine.
Okay, what this graph shows is impact as a percentage and probability of something happening. So the farther you get to the low left, what we say is the impact and the probability, both by numbers in impact and probability by or financially, is very low. The more we get to the red, and you'll see, we have some issues. And many of our claims, as you'll see, have been slip and falls, both paid by members and paid to guests. You can see sexual misconduct is also high. That's where our not our frequency, that's where our major exposure could be. But fortunately, the probability is about 50%. We have had very, very few over the last 25 years. I'm very, very happy about that. These are some of the numbers over the last 25 years. And as you can see, a great majority have been in the slip and falls, 461 cases, $2.5 million. And most of that is under the deductible that Kiwanis has paid on behalf of the club. Just graphically, there you can see the frequency by cause. Over 5 years, still pretty much led by the slip and falls. And the same thing graphically. So again, I'm kind of flying through this. All right, claims by district. Here's what you're interested in. And I have to tell you with a great deal of well, compliments, is that your effect on the program as far as claims-wise over 25 years, 61 claims for only 217,000. That's doing a whale of a job. As you can see, you are number 9, but anywhere between number 7 and number 10 or number 12 are all in that same category. Over 5 years, you plummet down to the bottom with 2 claims, no cost. So again, I compliment you on how you are really paying attention and executing some great risk management programs. Okay, directors and officers liability. I'll go over that very quickly. Again, this is protecting you, officers and directors, for any claim that would come against you for breach of your fiduciary responsibilities. This can come not only from the outside, but it can also come from members. And we've had a couple of situations such as that. It's covering libel, slander, misconduct between a member and another member, just numerous things. This is fairly broad, and we have $10 million worth of limits. And there are some of the few issues that we talked about. Our funding, this is $4 a member. So in total, the members are paying $17 out of their funds to pay for the insurance program. And again, it's a very, very positive program for all of us and for the clubs in particular. So Let's talk, okay, that was very quick. And again, we can talk about the program in a little bit more detail. Here we are post-pandemic. The Kiwanis clubs are planning, in total clubs, districts, even international, are now ramping up meetings, conventions, programs that were canceled last year. And it's going gangbusters. During the pandemic, most of either had to discontinue or you're meeting virtually. We're going to resume in-person meetings. So this goes into many of the questions that we've had from clubs and districts. What does Kiwanis want us to do? Here's a big thing. Beginning November 1st of 2020, when we renewed our policy, we are very similar to every other organization. Anyone who would allege that they contracted COVID at a Kiwanis event would not be covered under our insurance. And it's not just Kiwanis, it's every entity. It's every individual policy that I've seen. We are not alone with this. And honestly, an insurance company doesn't want to buy a claim. I can tell you we have had no claims filed against Kiwanis International, against the club, for any COVID infection related issue. But we do have some guidelines. And these are from the Kiwanis International bylaws. And again, they're guidelines, but we think they're great to follow. First of all, and this is fairly obvious, follow all federal and local laws. They change among the states, among the localities, but certainly follow those. You cannot be criticized at all, excuse me, by following those laws. And the health and safety laws, as you can see, the sizes, the social distancing, mask requirements, number of people at a gathering, all of these are critical to still follow. So really, I would say no real changes in that. Coordinate with the meeting venue. Now that's important as well, whether you're renting, leasing, or if a venue is offering for you to use them gratis. They would have possible requirements, and you also have requirements in order for someone not to come back against you who might use a venue after that. So not only social distancing and mask requirements, but look at your food service. What
Prepare CL, helping St. Louis in the color, prepare and prevail.
Okay, heard a little something. This is important. Of a venue that you meet at, who's going to be responsible for cleaning the surfaces? What is their policy? And make certain that if you are responsible for doing it, work with the venue. They may have protocols that they use in order to make certain that the next person that uses their venue is returned to a clean area and one that follows not only state but local protocols as well. Now again, these are guidelines and there are clubs that are following these to the letters. There are some that's using a version of that. Well, consider all attendees obtain a negative COVID-19 test or to certify that they've been fully vaccinated before the gathering. And let's get into the vaccination part here. Fully vaccinated according to the new CDC guidelines. So after 14 days have passed from receiving the complete dose, that's 2 from Pfizer and Moderna and 1 for Johnson & Johnson, the CDC is being a little more liberal on some of the guidelines that they provided in the past. Waiver of liability. This has been a bit of an issue with some. How do we use this waiver of liability? Until a majority of the people that we know have been vaccinated, we still recommend that a waiver be signed, either at every meeting. I know my club here in Northern Indianapolis has everyone sign a waiver even before a meeting, but certainly when we volunteer for an event, everyone needs to do it either prior to or after. We do have some clubs that are signing a waiver like once a quarter, but when they sign up for an event to volunteer, there is a column on a spreadsheet that they initial saying we still understand that the waiver that we signed is still in place. And again, the whole idea is we're protecting our clubs from any allegation. It's just a part of a defense that we can have. Somebody says we contracted COVID, but you signed the waiver. We can say you understood what the potential risk could be. A blank waiver form can be, I'm leaving the website up here, Kiwanis.org/liability. There's a blank waiver form as well as other waiver forms. All right, let's talk about transfer of risk. And again, I apologize, I'm kind of flying through this. This is critical. And one thing I've preached about in the almost 2 years that I've been here, we as clubs, as Kiwanis International, as anyone sponsoring a Kiwanis event, if there is an outside vendor to do what have you, provide security for an event, food services, really just about anything. You may provide some space to promote local businesses. I've heard about that. Well, they are basically out of your control as far as what they do, because that's why you have them. A vendor in particular may set up, and we've had a lot of slip and falls with this, where they've set up extension cords that have gone across a public walking area. We've had slip and falls with that. Kiwanis has been sued, and it's timely. Club members and club officers have to provide statements and so forth. If the vendor provides a certificate of insurance to you and to Kiwanis International, then we can say, we understand, we're going to tender the defense and potential claimants to our vendor because they were at fault. The blank forms for this can also be found on the same section of our website. They're blank forms. All you need to do, you can copy them, scan them, send them to your vendor. The vendor will provide those directly to your insurance agent. It's done all the time. So if there is anyone that would push back, that might be a red flag, and I'm certainly happy to contact the vendor or their insurance agent. This is done all the time. It's just a procedure requirement for doing business these days. And if we're not asking for this, we're going to be one of the few that a particular vendor works with that is not asking for this. And basically here it is. It is somebody that will indemnify you if there is any claim, any bodily injury, property damage caused by them. Our online resources, we have quite a few. I mentioned Kiwanis.org/liability. We have a ton of resources for you. There are just a few. We have over the past couple of years provided what I told you, the forms to provide to your vendor requiring that they name you as an additional insured. There are safety guidelines for anyone that is going to be responsible from your club or from somebody else to make sure that they inspect the site prior to and during an event, and that can bring particular issues to your attention to mitigate, take care of, what have you. Kiwanis.org under the member resources tab. Again, there are so many resources available to you, both in writing, but also please contact me if you have any questions. I'm fielding phone calls all the time. There is no such thing as, I'm going to say, a stupid question. It may be redundant because I hear the same questions, but every situation is different. And the whole objective is for us to protect you. Again, how to request certificates. We have a great relationship with Highland. If you have to provide a certificate of insurance, and I'm sure you've been asked to quite a bit over the years, we do have the forms that you can send to Kiwanis Cert at Highland, and Highland will send that out usually within 24 hours. They have been a great partner with us for 22 years. They have a staff dedicated to Kiwanis to help in any way. And they are, you have the phone number right there. They as well can help with any situation, answer most, if not all, questions that you might have. All right. Our conclusion. We are a youth serving organization. We have a phenomenal mission. From the insurance side and risk management side, we are not a very attractive risk to our insurance company. It's unfair, but we're thrown into the same boat as the Boy Scouts, and Scouts, the Catholic Church, many others that are youth serving organizations that have contact, where the members, adults, so forth, have contact with youth. So in order to keep the costs down of our insurance program, what I provided to you as far as resources and following some protocols can help mitigate what I would call in many ways nuisance claims and to help you. So with that, and I know I've gone through this very quickly, but I wanted to give a little bit more than 5 minutes of question and answers. So I'd like to open it up. Katie,
Stu,
open it up.
Stu, we're taking all questions by chat, and we have two
Okay.
people who are collecting those questions, and
Okay.
they will be asking them on behalf of all of our people. So
Okay.
just so you know, that's Jennifer and Teresa, and everyone who's written a question, if you still have one, please go ahead and write it in because we're watching. So thank you so much, Stu, and we're gonna move over to our question and answer period.
Please do. Yep.
Okay, well, I guess for the first question, if we're ready for questions, we did have several, Stu. One person, well, several, wants to know whether they can have a copy of this PowerPoint presentation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Will you-
Stu, I'd ask you by email to send that to us and we'll post it on our website, and as some people may not be able to download it.
Absolutely. I'll do that right after this, certainly.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
We had another question. What if you have members who refuse to wear masks, even if you know they are immunocompromised members there?
Terrific question. Okay, I'm going to give you the risk management belt and suspenders answer. I would ask them not to attend.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
This has happened very frequently. And again, I'm saying this is your risk manager. I'm paid to worry about things. I happen to believe, given our circumstances, especially with many of our members who fall, like me, fall into that category of higher potential risk, that I happen to believe that it's unfair for somebody to potentially expose other members who are taking precautions to do that. Again, International cannot dictate what you do. I'm just talking from a not only a practical matter, but out of courtesy to others. Please wear that.
Okay, so then just to clarify, you would ask the person wearing the mask or not wearing the mask not to attend, or the compromised people not to attend?
I think the people that are, compromised but do follow all the protocols. No, I think they're doing everything that they should. I think it's the ones that do not wear the mask. I think they should be, questioned as to, why not? You know that there are others that you potentially could infect. Basically, that's why I'm saying I have had clubs and numerous clubs that have said, if you don't wear a mask, you don't come.
Next question.
Thank you. So someone says they've had pushback on the guidelines of getting a negative COVID test. The question is, that is a guideline only, is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
Excuse me, Stu, could you quit on sharing your screen so people can see you?
I'm sorry. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. How's that?
Oh, that's great. Excellent. Thank you, Stu.
You bet.
And okay, so did we finish addressing the guideline? It is a guideline only.
It is a guideline only. It's meant to cover everything.
Okay.
So.
All right. Next question. Does offer a waiver presume that we, the club, have observed all the laws, ordinances, health department guidance, etc., and all in capital letters?
I would say, it's a good way to answer. The waiver is more directed at the person or member that is attending. We would like those people to recognize that regardless of whether our club is following all protocols, and this is kind of a two-part, but we want them to recognize that there still is a risk that they could contract it here, but knowing the risk, you're not going to hold us harmless for it. As a club, the other side, I think if somebody would allege that, even if they signed the waiver, well, anybody can sue anybody for anything these days, regardless. If they would come and say, listen, yes, I signed the waiver, but I assumed that the club sponsoring this did follow all state and federal and local guidelines, and they didn't, and this was why I did it, then I think we'd have a little bit more difficulty defending ourselves, even if the waiver is signed. So it's a long way of saying we do recommend that you follow all protocols. If someone did contract it, at least we have something that we can say you knew it, you signed it, and you attended.
Okay. Kind of covered our butts. Okay, thank you so much. And now, also some clubs are incorporating the waiver into their sign-in sheet for an event. Does that work?
Absolutely, that's what we do. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Excellent, thank you.
We have time for one more question.
Okay. All right. If our club is co-sponsoring an event like a fishing derby or such at the city park or the city lake, is the vendor insurance necessary? City has their own. So how do you?
Very good question. If a lot of municipalities will not indemnify you if you use public property, that's just a fact. In lieu of that, in my experience has been, if you do have a written understanding between the two, then at least you know what their responsibilities are and they know what yours are. So just having something in writing in lieu of that, I think is very, very helpful.
Okay.
I want to apologize. I was wrong. I can't tell time. We have time for a couple more questions.
Perfect.
All right. Let's see here. I think that's all the questions we have on this one. Let's see.
Someone muted.
Pardon me. So someone did comment and said that this has all been very extremely helpful.
I appreciate that.
And they've had a lot of these questions over the last year. So this has been clearing up a lot of information. We thank you for taking your valuable time to help share this information with us. Right.
Well, it's been my pleasure. I am a resource for you, at all times. Please do not hesitate to call me. I've had some really interesting questions. One I've had lately is if Kiwanis owns property and we lease it out to other people, what is our risk? I've just had numerous ones from that. And again, we're going to have things that I haven't seen in the last couple of years just because everybody's now out and about and we want to make up for last year. Rightfully so. So again, it has been my pleasure. Please contact me anytime. Love what you're doing. Thanks for what you're doing out there.
Thanks, Stu. And for
Thank
everyone,
you.
just so you know, we are recording these presentations and stopping between presentations. And so that you'll have them in 30-minute segments, that if you want to show this at your club meeting, you can have Stu with you anytime. He's famous now. He's always going to be on YouTube somewhere. And so we just so appreciate your time, and moving forward, we want to go. And I've just seen a notice from our incoming governor, Carla O'Brien, and we do have a couple of minutes before our next presentation. So Carla, would you like to speak to us?
Certainly, but I need to remember to unmute. Anyhow, I just wanted to quickly say welcome. Hi, I'm Carla O'Brien, if you have not seen me or met me before, and I am your governor-elect. And how excited AC Paxton and I are to have you with us today. Today's sessions are just another way that we have planned to put the tools in your toolbox for getting back to meeting, fundraising, and community service, or being able to perform those at a higher level. While COVID-19 presented us with many challenges, it's also been an opportunity to reevaluate and stretch and grow our traditional way of doing things. MOARC and KI are well aware of all of your struggles, and we have help for you. Today's education sessions, MOARC has grants for 50% of the cost to attend Amplify training. MOARC membership contest with cash prizes to help you perform service. And Earl Collins Foundation grants up to $500 to assist with your service leadership programs. You also have valuable resources in your lieutenant governors and your regional trustees to help you navigate any problems or answer any questions that you have about MOARC District or KI. Because we know how valuable today's sessions are, as Katie said, we are recording them individually so that you might share them in the future as club programs. As AC says, each one reach one, whether that be a new member or serving the needs of the youth in your community. My motto for next year is, we are family. We are your Kiwanis family, and we look forward to growing in numbers, knowledge, and community service with your valuable assistance. And mostly, thank you so much for the excellent committee that put this together, chaired by Katie Renard. We really appreciate it, and I think it's going to do everybody a lot of good. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor-elect Carla.